Nobody's commenting. We are like stripping.
I feel very cheap right now. There we go.
Yes, Andy, Vargo, and I will do anything for attention.
Yes, we will. Welcome to Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy. I'm Andy Vargo, and this is my best friend,
Cheri Hardman. Hi.
I always mess up which direction to do my hands. Welcome to our show where every week we talk about all things with our own personal brand of scrutiny. Cheri, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent.
Good.
Sorry for the delay today. My computer was taking its time, wanted to sleep in. And so now we're finally rocking and rolling.
Your computer should have told me that it was going to do that so I could have extended my nap.
I know, right? Yes. I wish it would have.
I feel much better if I come home and I do like a little hour, 45-minute nap.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I remember you telling me that just the right amount is an hour for that power nap. Like little less, little more, you get groggy, you get it just that's the right.
It's perfect. 20 minutes is a good time too if you don't really have an hour.
Okay. That's good to know. So do you set an alarm when you try to fall asleep for an hour? Okay.
I just set an alarm, put it right by my head, and then I lay there and listen to something on YouTube or something. And
okay. Nice.
And I wake up and then I'm like, mad for about 2 minutes, like, whoa. And then once I'm up, I'm fine.
Right. And you're like, now I'm ready to go live my life.
Yeah.
My second wind. No, that's awesome. As you know, I have a lot of nights where I have to work late till midnight or 1 o'clock, and I have things still going on early in the morning. And I've had to come to the realization that I cannot start my day at 6 or 7 a.m. or even 8 a.m. and then go until 1 or 2 a.m. and not have consequences. So I've been better about it.
We are not spring chickens anymore. As a matter of fact, I think you've recently gotten older.
Yes, I have. Tuesday was my birthday, and added another year onto the wall of chalk marks.
You're not getting older, though. You're getting better.
I like the way you think. Like wine, just
I can't wait till your 50th birthday. We're gonna do it big.
That's gonna be exciting.
We got a ways to go till that, but
that's 4 years away. It keeps getting closer every year. My niece was funny. She went on my timeline and posted a happy 50th.
Oh, yeah. I don't like when people push it. Like, let me do it at my real time.
Well, yeah, and I have that coming because I always razz people about stuff. So
yeah, that's true. You do. You do razz.
So what do you have coming up?
Well, I have 2 very exciting things coming up.
Okay.
Saturday, I'm doing Roastamania at Tacoma Comedy Club at 420.
Woohoo.
And I always say I'm not going to do roasts, and I don't like roasts. It's a lot of pressure because you got to write like all new jokes.
Right.
And then you're in a roast battle. And then if you win, then you got to roast one of the other people in the other roast battle, but you don't know which one.
Right. So you've got to be prepared for any possibility.
Right. So then you go away for like 5 minutes to write your jokes. Well, if you have any brains at all, you write them all before the show.
Well, yeah.
But so then you're writing roasts actually for 3 people. And I usually blow my wad on the first one. Like I just do it big, and then, then I have to scramble. So I'm really trying to like do my best. So it's a lot of writing, but there is some, I like a challenge, and I like a battle. I'm competitive. I never knew that about myself. So yes. I'm excited to be roasting Adam Tiller.
That's going to be fun.
I barely even know Adam Tiller.
Yeah, I don't know him well. I've seen him perform a few times. I like some of his stuff. I think that makes it hard, though. The less you know a person, the harder it is to roast them.
I know. So I'm just being extra mean. So
Nice.
Like,
Well, that's fun. I saw a couple sneak peeks and of what you've been working on, of course, and it's going to be awesome. I think that
it'll
y'all
be
are
fun.
there to see it.
But then the other exciting thing that we have going on Monday night at Odd Otter, we are doing Unmentionables.
Yes, that's going to be fun. And big announcement, it's Unmentionables.
The game show. So
Yes.
yeah. So I wasn't going to do the game show. I thought, I don't know if it's really ready yet from the pandemic. And it's just so much fun. We're going to make it ready. It's going to be ready. It's going to be so much fun. I'm super excited. We've already sold tickets. We've got people coming. It'll be really good. So
it's going to be a fun show. And that, I did it the time we were in the greenhouse, and that was just such a fun time. It's fun both for the audience and the comedians, because you don't ever know which way the show is going to go. And you have to have a mix of being somewhat prepared with that chance of knowing I'm going to get interrupted and this is going to go a different direction out of my control.
Right. Yeah, it's fun. So I'm super excited about that. In fact, I've been having a hard time. I try to always approach my stuff in chronological order. So I'll worry about that when I'm done with the roast, know. But I don't know.
I'm getting 2 days afterwards. So
yeah, so I got to do a little bit of. Well, I took a nap. I'm not tired. Why am I yawning? But anyway, probably lack of oxygen because I'm talking so much. But yeah, so I'm excited, super excited. So tonight, really my plan is to work on both of those things, finish up my roast jokes, and then start gathering all my stuff and seeing, how it's going to work. And it's going to be really fun. So
that is exciting. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to Monday. It's going to be a blast. I'm kind of doing that same thing that you're doing, where I'm really trying to pay attention to organizing when to focus on what chronologically, because sometimes the things that are further away are the newest thing that you get booked, so you're excited about them, and your urge is to start working on them. So I try to capture the excitement and the enthusiasm with a little bit of brainstorming, but without doing all of the hard lifting until I get closer to it.
Right.
I've got, obviously, Monday night on the 22nd at Odd Otter, I've got that show. And for details on that, head on over to the Facebook page for Bubble Wrap Comedy, where they put on all the events, and that's going to be fun. And then I have two, on the motivational speaking side, I have 2 gigs booked right after the first of the year that are a week apart. And I'm pretty ready for them and for overall, but there are just some details I want to do. And there's always a lot of work to personalize the message to the group you're working with. That's where it really comes down to talking with people who are with each business, understanding what challenges they're facing, so I can know what areas of my material to kind of focus in on and highlight. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited about it. And those, because and because they're a week apart and with the holidays, I really do kind of have to work on them now, so that if there's any materials I need to bring in place, I can. So I can't wait. That's exciting. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I imagine we're not going to be here next week because it's Thanksgiving.
I imagine not. Yeah, it's gonna
take none of our bullshit next Thursday. Take time to be with your families, whether relationships or families of choice, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you consider the people closest to you, then be grateful for them and enjoy your time together. And that is what you got to do. So.
All right. Anything else we need to catch up on?
Nope.
Well, if we're not going to be here next week, well, we'll be here the week after that, though. I got some shows going on in December, but that's okay. That'll work. So never mind.
All right.
But I'm always looking for new shows to do too. So if you have any Christmas parties or anything like that, it's always fun to hire a comedian for that.
It is.
Or a comedic duo. I'm just saying, could be fun.
It's a great way to entertain your group, bring them together. People come together with laughter, and there's no better way during any time of the year, but especially this time of year when it's dark out and dismal, and you wake up and the sun's already like not really out, and you go to sleep when the sun's not out, and you come home from work, whatever, it's just dark, dark, dark. Let's have some humor.
Oh, we don't have a game today, do we?
We do not. So boo for that, but we got some fun things to talk about.
Yeah, I wish we could do like a poll while we were doing this.
Okay.
But because I want to know like who has pets and what kind
gotcha.
of pets.
Okay. Well, if you have pets and you're watching right now, chime in. And if you're watching this later, still throw in there what kind of pets you have, because we want to interact with you on the comments too, even if it's after the fact, because that's always fun. I'll tell you, I don't have a pet. My daughter has a dog that she's had for 15 years now. Wow. And he's a little Pekingese toy fox terrier, and I've worried about him not making it the last 4 years at least. He's had one of those heart conditions where he's got to take pills, and I think the vet said initially when they found out that it was this could be 2 weeks, this could be 2 years, we don't know how long he has, just don't get him too excited and let's watch his meds. And thankfully he's been with us another 4 years.
Right.
And I was really nervous because when she found out, that was about 6 months into our divorce and me coming out, and she was 14, and it was just this really rough time to kind of learn that one more thing about a dog that she'd grown up with since she was 4. So thankful that he's still here, but who knows for how long.
Yeah, well, as most of you know, I lost my dog this past week, and my dog Paris, she was 20, she lived a good life, but I heard from so many people, because then I realized that I have a lot of pet loving friends. And I know that when I'm like scrolling through Facebook and I see someone's pet has died, I feel it like, oh, like, because, we outlive our pets, so it happens. Right. But then I started thinking, because I was thinking about you, because, every now and then you have like, just for a second, you think about getting a pet, but mostly you're like, I'm not really like a pet person, Right. And so then, people that have pets typically say like that people that don't like animals, it means there's something wrong with them. I mean, that's just like a common. Yeah, I've heard stuff like that. Like, it means you're cold hearted or stuff like that. So I really wanted to like research and see like, what is the psychological difference between people that have pets and don't have pets. Right. Yeah, I was curious when you hinted that this might be your topic, I started thinking, oh my gosh, I wonder where this is going to go. Like, do I need to hide? Right? Am I allowed on this episode? Let's talk about it behind his back. Yeah. So they say that like, like people will say that people that don't have pets are like selfish or cold and uncaring, but that people that maybe don't have pets, they think pet owners are like socially awkward or antisocial, like they like animals better than people. Right. Well, the studies show that neither one of those for the most part is true. Right. But petless people are in the minority. So we're at this point, 62% of people have pets. Wow. Yeah. So, and that like has been increasing over the last. I know a lot of people got pets during the pandemic. Yeah, definitely. That was a big thing. The pandemic puppies. It's like you're finally home to be able to take care of it. And that would have been the perfect time to get like a puppy, because you got to be with puppies. Well, and I guess I look at pets the way I hear some people talk about kids, where it's like, oh, this is nice to pet the dog and like say hi and throw the toy and then give them back. Right. And be like, oh, I don't have to clean up that poop. Like, that's not my thing. Right. Well, and then there are certain people that only like a certain type of animal. Oh, sure. Like for years, you're going to find this interesting, but I've always was a cat person.
Okay.
As a kid, I always had cats. I never had a dog, and I hated dogs for a while.
Mm.
I just thought they were stupid and dirty, and it was mostly the barking. You know, when you
Oh,
walk past a
yeah, they're
house and
loud.
a dog just barks at you, it's unsettling. Sometimes it can be scary, and to me they just were rude
Mm-hmm.
and obnoxious. You know,
Like, how rude.
I know. But then when I like got my own place and finally lived in a place where I could have a dog, then I started thinking, oh, I could have a dog. And then once I had a dog, I just realized the unconditional love you get from a dog, you don't get from anything else.
Yeah. I do have to say that after I was divorced, there were a few times where my daughter needed me to watch the dog for the weekend or overnight while she was doing something. And I kind of enjoyed that. And I got to a point where I kind of missed like seeing him and hanging out with him a little bit. So, which I did not ever expect, I would say.
Yeah, well,
But
you know, they do love you unconditionally. And I do think that like if you're a lonely person, they do kind of take the loneliness away because you do, I mean, they call them companions for a reason that they're a companion.
mm-hmm.
You know, they're so needy. Oh my God. My
Right.
dogs are so needy. Well, and you know,
Yeah.
he's an asshole.
Well, and my thing is like for me, I don't part of my not wanting to have a pet right now is that I don't feel like I feel like it would be selfish of me to have a pet because I don't live a lifestyle where I feel like I could give the pet what they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
I live in a studio. I would only be able to take the pet out a little bit on walks. I had to like find a little patch of grass for them to do their thing. And I wouldn't be able to really let them run free and do their thing. Um, and I'm gone a lot for long stretches of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't feel good leaving them kenneled all day or even just
Right.
stuck inside by themselves. Like I just feel like that would be like I'd be putting them on hold for when I want companionship while they're here lonely all day long.
Right.
And so I wouldn't feel good about that.
Right.
Um,
I'm especially a dog.
yeah. And I'm
Cats,
not,
cats are more independent. I don't think you're a cat
oh
person.
God, sorry, I'm not at all. Laura like can't stand that she's like always she's like, look at this cat, he's so cute. I'm like, ugh, get that out of my face. Like poops in your house and you got to clean it up and scratches you. And anyway.
So you are evil. Okay. Okay. So some of the things like uh, people that are pet owners are more likely to be. Okay.
Okay.
Pet owners are more likely to be white,
Oh, really?
more likely to be married,
Okay.
more likely to have children, to be employed full time, to have higher incomes, and own a home. And that
Okay.
makes sense in a lot of ways because, you know, like you said, you know, you live in a studio apartment. You don't really have room for a pet. Or a
Yeah.
lot of times when you're living in an apartment, um, you know, you're not allowed to have a pet.
Yeah. And
So,
also the having a family makes a lot more sense too, because like when I was married, someone was generally around to hang out with the dog. It was rare that we were all gone when the dog was home alone for a long stretch of time.
well, the kids are always asking you, can I have a pet?
Yeah.
A dog, Dad, can we have a dog? Okay, so let's see what other differences are. Now they do say that there are like some health benefits to having a pet. You know, it lowers your blood pressure and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Children that are raised with pets, wait a minute, yeah, tend to be more empathetic and
Mm-hmm.
have more self-esteem, better social skills, and better nurturing abilities.
Now, I'll tell you some friends of mine, when they had a dog and then they were talking about getting one again, and they were talking about what the previous dog they had, and they said, well, we found out we're not really dog lovers, we're just dog likers. And I've always thought that was funny because it does kind of, you like something, but you're not necessarily passionate about it enough that you want
Right.
that one. Now they ended up getting 2 more dogs later, and they seem to really love them and they take great care of them. But I've always thought that phrase was funny when they said that. And interestingly enough, all 3 of my kids have pets.
Really? Now,
Yeah.
So you had the dog when you guys were together, that one
Yeah.
dog, right?
Yeah.
Did
And
you
my
have
other,
pets before that?
well, my oldest son has always had a lot of pets. He's had everything from iguanas to turtles to goldfish to gerbils and hamsters and snakes and lizards, African millipedes, like you name it. He's like, how exotic can we get this? He's had multiple. Right now, I think he has a bearded dragon, a snake, and then his dog.
Mm-hmm.
And he's had multiple snakes over the years. Anyway, so he's always been, since early on, just a lover of animals. And then my daughter, who's the youngest, has always really loved especially dogs, and so she's had the dog since she was 4, which was the family dog, but everybody knew it was really her dog.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the reason that we'd gotten the dog. And my middle son has liked pets, but not been the one who like was obvious he'd always have one. And he is the one that just got a little puppy who's adorable and almost made me think about getting a puppy, where I'm just like, oh my god, such a sweet 8-week-old little tiny puppy. I'm like, but you're gonna shit all over my house if I take you home and chew up my
Right.
shit. So I tried not
Yeah,
to get puppy fever.
I
I'll
know.
go visit them. That's the nice thing about being, father of the kids that have puppies.
Right. Well, and then that's the other thing, is that a lot of times petless people is they're more I don't want to say they're cleaner, but more, they put a greater importance on making sure their homes are very neat and tidy.
That
Yeah.
fits my lifestyle.
But a lot of times, like, people don't have pets because like they didn't grow up with pets.
No, I'll tell you, I had a dog when I was young, but this was like old school. He always stayed outside on a chain because we didn't have a very good fenced yard. It was sad, the life that dog led looking back. And he ran away when I was in kindergarten, and my mom watched him run away and didn't stop him. But she was not a pet person at all. Like, it wasn't, I mean, we knew that. And I was like, you didn't chase Flugel? She's like, I don't chase dogs. But but I'll tell you one thing for myself. I grew up afraid of dogs because my mom wasn't a dog person, and always was like, never wanted any animals around her at all. Like, that just freaked her out. So then I grew up kind of with this instilled fear. And there was a pit bull in the middle of our block who had attacked the neighbor lady on her front porch, and she had to go to the hospital. And that was when I was really young. And I had to walk past that house where the pit bull was, and none of the yards were fenced. It was just like on a chain, like they were. And I remember walking to school in like kindergarten and first grade, and the zipper on my backpack would jingle, and I would stop because I would think it was a dog chain like getting closer to me, and then I would hear it and stop, and then I would just remember being so stressed out and scared that whole walk as I walked past that house all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that kind of like was instilled in me early on, and took me a long time to where now I'm not like I was for a long time. I was afraid of dogs. Like, I would just didn't care what the dog was. I couldn't tell if it was friendly or not. And now I'm comfortable with dogs, and I'm happy to wave at them from across the room.
You know what I find myself doing, like when I go on a walk or something, well, a ride, whatever. But and I see people walking their dogs. I talk directly to the dog, and then I'll realize after they're past me that I totally ignored the owner. Oh, aren't you cute? Look at you, and then it's like, then I realize like the person maybe even said hi to me, and I don't even hear it. So I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, so I don't think the articles that I read, so there's really not that much difference between people that are petless and not petless. It's just maybe circumstances, or like, you might, like you say, people might travel, they just don't have the time to give the attention to the pet. Right. And I do find that, like, every time, we go somewhere, we have to have someone watch our pets.
Yeah.
And I think Noah's getting ready to move out. So that means that we can't go, like, both of us can't go anywhere overnight unless we get a pet sitter now.
And one thing I do think is kind of sad, and again, this is from someone not having a pet, but I always feel bad when I see like really big animals in the middle of the city where they don't have room. Like what do you get to take? Does the dog get to run at the dog park like once a week, or like, is that it just, I feel bad for these big animals that are meant to be outside running around and hurting animals, and then they're relegated to this apartment life.
Right. But I'm one that, oh my God, don't let me go to the shelter. Like, don't even let me in there, because it literally like breaks my heart sometimes that these
Yeah.
animals, and I watch these videos like on TikTok where when a dog is getting ready to be adopted, they come and put like a little thing on his thing that says he's been adopted. And I cry every time,
Oh my gosh.
like, oh my God.
You
It's
need to
like,
stop watching those videos.
I know, but yeah, Dave does not like me to go in places like that.
Well,
Because,
and here's my thing too. Like when I'm single and I'm thinking about dating and sometimes thinking about not ever dating again, but like everybody has a pet, and so you're like flipping through profiles, and I got like a guy that you think is cute, and all of a sudden there's like dog slobber all over his face, or he's like got a dog licking him, or a cat like over his shoulder, or he's laying in bed and there's like a cat on him here and a dog on him there, and I'm like, I don't want to cuddle with all the fur. Like that's just too much.
I don't think a pet owner and a not pet owner are very compatible for dating.
Like if it's like I know people who like have pets, but the pets aren't like necessarily all over them in the bed. That would be fine with me. Like I could handle some amount of pet involvement. I've come to the decision that I may have to date someone with a pet at some point, but I don't know if I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I don't think you should. Because then you're going to be trying to talk them into like, like, oh, I don't want the pet in here. Like maybe the pet's been sleeping in there for, I'm like ready to have an argument with you and your imaginary person. I just think you should try to find someone who doesn't have a pet, or maybe someone that has like a goldfish or like something like that.
Those goldfish tanks stink after a while if you don't.
They do. But like, I mean, I know you think cats are okay because cats are antisocial. They're not going to be hanging all over you, trying to sleep in the bed and all that.
I don't trust cats. I had a date with a guy one time, and we were sitting on his couch, and a cat kept like trying to climb over me to get to him, or sit on my lap, or like climb. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, no. Like, see you later. Anyway.
See you next Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, my new cat, the newest cat we've had her a year, but anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know where she sleeps? Have I told you this?
I don't think so.
Right between Dave and I, under the covers.
Oh, wow.
I've never had a cat that slept under the covers, and we both sleep naked. So it's very scary. Don't make any fast movements because.
Yeah, see, this is wow. And this is the thing too, is like people do things like they declaw their cats, or they do these things that make it like convenient for the owner, or risk free from, and I think that kind of stuff is cruel too. Like I care about the pets enough that I don't think that that's fair to do those things to make it fit your life. So
all right, so
anyway.
if you don't have a pet and you'd like to date Andy, you can send an email to
Scrutiny,
make fun of it
with Cheri and Andy, or Cheri and Andy at Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy at gmail.com. What is it?
Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy at gmail.com.
And in case you were worried about character space, the word "and" is spelled out. A-N-D. It's not the ampersand.
Okay.
Well,
not. All right, what would you like to talk about today, Andrew?
Well, I wanted to talk about pet-free living. I actually was thinking about, and this is just fresh in my mind because I just did this last week. Just about, we're wrapping up, we're getting close to the end of the year. And I know it could seem a little premature to be thinking that way, but we've got 6 weeks left in the year. And I think it's time to do one of two things. One is, if there's any quick wins you can get before the end of the year, then you need to do that. But don't spend too much time beating yourself up about what big thing can I create in 2021 before the end of the year. But rather, I'd love to see people's thoughts on what are you doing right now to be ready for 2021 to start out, or 2022, to start out fresh. Like what I just went through and did, and I do this every November, I did my budget for 2022. And the way I do my budget, it's every day of the year. So so it's a little bit of a project, but it's actually not bad because I just follow the same format every year. Now that I've been doing it this way for 5 years, I plug in my expected income for every paycheck of the year. I move all the dates around so that I know what those paydays will be. I don't add in any hopeful budgeting, like, oh, I hope I get a gig, or I hope that this happens, or whatever. Like,
Right.
leave it as it is. And that way, but I do plan in things like if I'm planning to take a trip or I'm planning something, I put all that in there so I can say, oh, look, I'm going to be $400 short on April 3rd if I don't make more money, or I'm going to have to make adjustments and maybe not do some of those things I'm planning on. So it just sets mentally, it sets me up really well to be ready for the new year, so that I'm not starting out the first week of January going, oh crap, we're in a new year. Now what do I need to do? Now I know, you know what, if I want January and February to go okay, this is how much money I need in the bank on December 31st to start out in the right place.
Wow. Well, I don't do any of that. I don't do any of that. Andy, you're so organized.
Well, it doesn't have to be to that scale necessarily, but excuse me, even something as simple as, is there a goal that you want to achieve in 2022? What might be something you could do in January? And if you start having that in your mind now and thinking about it, you can be prepared to really take the right action in January.
Right. Well, you know what I do every year is I kind of got off it a little bit during the pandemic, but I have these forms, these comedy goal tracking sheets.
Yes.
So at the end of the year, I go through them all and then decide like what are my goals going to be for next year. And I do this like on the 1st usually, like right.
It's that's your rituals to do it that day.
Yeah. And I think I'm gonna like change it a little bit. I make the goal. It's possible for me to attain them, but I rarely do on all levels, So we were talking, it's funny because we were talking about this at work today about, with the kids about making goals and how they should be, smart goals. And there was a question like, should you make your goal a little bit lower so you have that feeling of success? Or should you make it really high so that you're really reaching,
Yeah, and I've heard philosophy on both, and I kind of go back and forth on. I have a hard time making them small, and usually I have a hard time hitting them because I make them unrealistically high, typically. So I feel like what probably would be the right thing to do is to set your unrealistic goal and set your realistic goal, and then maybe find somewhere in between that is what you shoot for.
Right, because like for example, can I mine is like to do 2 or 3 sets a week, contact 1 new booker per month, 10 minutes of writing 3 times a week, and then a money goal.
Okay.
Now, those are all reasonable.
Yeah.
The money goal, I've hit it a couple times.
Well, what I like about those goals is that, all but one are completely in your control. You can choose to get up and do 3 sets a week, even if you're going to open mics. You can choose to control how much you're writing, your new material, all that kind of stuff. And I think what's really important, and this is something I've really learned this year, is I had spent too much time setting my goal to be on the results and not to be on the actions that I'm taking to get the results. And I've been really focusing on, instead of saying, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, I'm going to have $10,000 in sales, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to contact 5 potential customers this month, each month, whatever that is. Eventually that will lead to $10,000 in sales. But I kept feeling like I wasn't hitting my goal because I was setting the goal wrong. And so if you set your goal to be, these are the number of actions I'm going to take, and if you don't hit that goal, the only person you have to blame is yourself.
All right.
Because you really can't control the results of those actions. there's a million reasons why someone might not hire you, something might not come together, but as long as you keep taking the actions, at some point it will happen.
I set another goal.
What's that?
That by April, I want to have more followers than you.
Oh my God. Don't you already? Oh my God, that's funny.
No, I don't. Thank you very much.
I think there's always those people that we are comparing ourselves to, though, which I know they say is not right, but I think as long as you're healthy about it, where you look and say, you know what, how do they get there and what can I do to increase my base?
I thought about it. I thought, well, instead of like not being like a hateful competitive thing, but it's just like, okay, well, Andy's got more than I do, so I'm going to kind of see like what, like I'm going to track it, like how many I have starting out on different media, and then watch what you do and watch what I do, and just like, because then we can discuss it. So
yeah, well, I just want you to know one of my goals is to grow my following, so
well,
it's going to be a moving target.
I figure it was a goal, like it was a competitive goal, but I think that it might help both of us.
Yeah. And interesting thing on that came up today was I was meeting with a client and I was showing them someone who I follow, who I really admire their work. And they do a great job. They're a ghost writer. They've been on my podcast. They do a great job with the infographics they put out there. Her name's Amy Bloshka. She's really good about teaching people about what soft skills businesses are using and helping people be leaders in that way. And but I just had all this admiration for her. She's one of those people that you're just like, you know. And so I was showing him, and then I'm like, oh, she like on several mediums she has a lot of followers, but on this one I wasn't as far behind her as I thought. And I was like, oh, I'm not that far behind her on followers for this particular thing. And I've been thinking she's doing an amazing job on here, but I never looked at her follower count. And I only noticed it because I looked her up so that he could follow her, and he did. Now she has another one, but it was one of those where I think sometimes we see where other people have followers and we don't realize sometimes how close we can be to some of that, to where other people are at. Right.
Well, you know that on I don't know if they still have that because I haven't seen it lately, or I haven't looked. Do they still have that like on business pages on Facebook where you can compare your page to somebody else's page?
I believe I haven't gone back and looked, but I think so. Because I had a couple where I was following. Yours is one of them where I, clicked similar, where you can click people who are similar businesses and then see, oh, they did more actions or less and whatever. I need to take a second look because since I've been at it a little longer, I should readjust who I'm comparing to now.
Yeah, I thought that was helpful. So let me write that down.
Yeah, because I know I was comparing myself to yours and Jim Kellner's and maybe a couple other people I can't remember, but those are the two I remember doing from the beginning. And yeah, because I think, like you said, we can look at what people are doing, look at who's getting followers, who has them, and then say, okay, well, what are the actions they're taking that I might need to focus a little more on? Doesn't necessarily guarantee followers, but it does make you be more aware. And that's one thing that I need to be better at. What I would like to be doing is have kind of maybe a topic for each month. Like this month, I'm talking about leadership, and then have posts that are all kind of around leadership. My blog, have videos, have Instagram quotes, everything about leadership. And then the next month have it be about change, and then make sure that all those infographics, the quotes, all that are about change, and then just kind of rotate through. And maybe a month is too short, maybe it's too long, I don't know. But I'd like to be more organized with my doings. So we'll see.
Well, it's part of the beauty of this whole thing is figuring all this out.
Yes, it is. And I'll tell you, like you had reminded me to bring cards to the show, and I was like, oh shoot, I need to order more business cards. But then I remembered I had just made those thank you notes, and I made those for motivational speaking, but it just says thank you for letting me be a part of your event. So those work for comedy shows.
Right.
And one thing that I love about that is I have the QR code on there that goes to my link tree. And for the day of the show, normally I leave my virtual tip jar on the very bottom link because that's not my main thing, but I moved it up to the second one from the top. for the day of the show, so that if anybody scans it, maybe I'll get a tip. And then I left it there because we have the show on Monday. So then after the show on Monday, I'll just move it back down to the bottom. And but I love that idea. I think that when I look at the marketing pieces that I have, the things I have in place right now compared to 3 or 4 years ago when I was just getting started, it's amazing to see how much happier I am with the quality of the things that I have, how much better they interact, and how much more use I'm making of the technology and the resources.
Right.
That ultimately make us present more professionally. So.
Well, I'm getting tired of making cards and then finding new and different ways to do it after I've got a whole bunch of cards.
Yeah.
So
I hear you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, on my cards, I didn't print on the back. I just did on the front and, made them myself. But long-term plan is to have them printed with them on the back as well. But I know what you mean. It's like you get this thing figured out and then you invest in.
I buy all these cards and then I learn about QR codes and Linktree, and it's like, oh,
right.
Now you tell me. No, it's okay.
But with some of those things, I have found that one way that I'm starting to do stuff like that is if I have stuff I've made, then I'm taking the stack of stuff that I printed. I'm going, okay, where could I just leave these that I might not put my thing that I'm going to invest more in? Like if I'm just going to, rather than throwing these away, maybe I can leave them on counters in places or put them on community boards. So I'm still getting the stuff out there and I don't mind getting rid of it because I'm going to get rid of it anyway. So it's just then extra information out there somewhere.
See how smart you are?
But then you got to go find all the places you can do that. And that's the hard part.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So very exciting.
Well, there's lots of, I always kind of look forward to this time of year, the winding down of the year and starting a new year because, goal setting and, just getting ready and organized and stuff. There's something that I really like about that. Don't you?
Well, I do, because to me, it kind of comes down to that slowing down and recentering yourself, which it kind of goes at odds with the general feeling in the air this time of year a lot, because we're focused on the hullabaloo of the holidays and the stress, and the traffic is worse and it's messy because it's raining out around here. And so there's a lot of peace that comes from saying, you know what, I'm going to take control of where my life's going to go next year. And so by sitting down, making a plan, writing it out, it kind of brings order to all that chaos that's surrounding us.
Right, it does.
So, are you checking for comments?
I am.
Steve Hammond has a dog.
Yes, he does.
That's a boxer. It's cute.
Do you really think it's cute, though?
I'm supposed to say it's cute because it's a dog. I've been trained enough as a non-pet person to know that it's just like when people put their, a picture of their kids and you're like, oh, that one's a little awkward. You just like, oh, adorable.
What do you think of Nipsey?
Adorable.
Yeah. Nipsey is adorable. He is adorable.
He's cute. He's never happy to see me, but
he's pleasant, but he is cute. Yes.
Yeah. You're like, well, aren't you a cute little obnoxious fucker? I mean, pardon me, can I say that?
Yeah. Well, shoot.
Well, this has been a fun show.
It has been. Just want to see if I'm forgetting. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. So I want to see everybody that's here, all 1,000 of you that are watching right now, show up to Unmentionables. I would suggest buying a ticket because we are selling tickets. We do have free seats, but only after all the paid customers are seated. So
you can reserve your spot by paying it, and then that holds it for how long? Like you also have to show up on time if you paid for a seat.
Well, I think if they paid for a seat, they paid for a seat.
All right, so
you might just move further back if they don't show up.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So we just don't want you to miss the show. It's going to be fun. Odd Otter show starts at 7:30.
Yes.
on Monday night, the 22nd. It's we originally started this out saying we're going to do the last Monday of the month because that made sense, and then all of a sudden there's this thing called Monday Night Football. So that became a thing. And then also there's some months where it might not make the most sense to do it that night. So we're doing it a Monday every month, close to the last Monday, depending on the month. But
All right. All right. Well, it's been a fantastic spending time with you, Andy, as always.
It's been a pleasure, Cheri.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Here for Scrutiny.
Yeah, I'll talk to you then. Y'all have a great day.
Bye.